If you're over 60 and relying on a synthetic pill like this to force intimacy, I need you to stop. You're ignoring the most terrifying biological warning your body can give you. If you're over 60 and relying on a synthetic pill like this to force intimacy, I need you to stop. You're ignoring the most terrifying biological warning your body can give you. By taking this, you're forcing extreme blood flow through rigid, diseased pipes. You're risking a heart attack to mask a symptom. I'm Dr. Anya. Stop treating your cardiovascular system like a mechanical toy. Today, I'm going to teach you the precise 4-fruit endothelial protocol to cleanse your arteries and restore your performance from the inside out. You need to understand how your body's biological plumbing works. Your vascular system doesn't collapse overnight. It fails gradually, first blocking the smaller vessels before reaching the larger ones. The arteries responsible for your firmness and performance are microscopic. They are only 1 to 2 millimeters in diameter. They are a tiny fraction compared to the major arteries that keep your heart alive. That's why when oxidized cholesterol and calcium begin to harden your blood vessels, the thinnest tubes are the first to suffocate. We call this damage to the arterial wall endothelial dysfunction. If your blood flow is failing down there, it's not just an age-related problem. It's the canary in the coal mine. It's a biological guarantee that within 3 to 5 years, that same plaque will choke your heart or brain. Ignoring this and simply popping a pill is silent suicide. And this is where most men make their most fatal mistake. You need to understand the extreme mechanical stress you are putting your body through when you use synthetic performance enhancers to bypass blocked arteries. The mechanism of a healthy erection requires an immediate, massive surge of blood to rush into the vascular chambers and stay there. To handle that sudden pressure, a young, healthy man has incredibly flexible, elastic arterial walls that expand easily like a brand new rubber hose. By the time you are 60, if you have not been rigorously maintaining your vascular health, your arteries are no longer like rubber hoses. They are stiff, they are narrow, and they are lined with calcified plaque. They are more like old, rigid lead pipes. They have lost their ability to naturally expand and contract.
Concerned. When you swallow a synthetic chemical like sildenafil or tadalafil, you are forcing a pharmacological override. The drug violently forces the blood vessels to dilate, demanding that a massive volume of blood rush through those rigid, narrowed pipes, whether they can handle it or not. Clinically speaking, this creates a state of immense hemodynamic stress. You are demanding peak cardiovascular output from a system that is fundamentally compromised. When you force a high-pressure volume of blood through a stiff, calcified artery, you significantly increase the risk of dislodging a piece of that plaque. If a fragment of that plaque breaks off into your bloodstream, it will travel until it hits an artery too small to pass through. If that happens in your brain, it is a stroke. If it happens in your coronary artery, it is a massive heart attack. You are risking a catastrophic cardiovascular event precisely at the moment when your heart rate and blood pressure are already naturally elevated during physical intimacy. This is why men over 60 experience extreme flushing, pounding headaches, blurred vision, and terrifying heart palpitations after taking these pills. Your body is screaming in distress. Your cardiovascular system is physically struggling to manage the violent, forced vasodilation the drug demands. The pill is not fixing your body. It is whipping a tired, sick horse to run a race it is not prepared for. You cannot out-medicate a rigid, dying vascular system. You must clean the pipes. You must restore the natural elasticity of the endothelial lining so that blood can flow freely and safely without pharmaceutical force. But before I give you the exact organic compounds required to dissolve that plaque, I must warn you about the most common and most destructive mistake men make when they try to fix their circulation naturally. Let's talk about the pasteurized juice trap.
When men realize that synthetic pills are dangerous, they often turn to the internet for natural solutions. And almost immediately, they are told to drink fruit juice. They are told that a daily glass of orange juice or pomegranate juice is the secret to heart health and vascular repair. Clinically speaking, if you are buying your heart health from a carton or a plastic bottle in the supermarket, you are actively destroying your liver and accelerating the exact arterial damage you are trying to heal. You must understand the commercial food industry. When fruit is juiced, packaged, and shipped to a grocery store, it must undergo a process called pasteurization. The manufacturer boils the liquid at extreme temperatures to kill any potential bacteria and extend the shelf life. That intense heat permanently destroys the delicate, heat-sensitive enzymes, the active vitamin C, and the specific vascular antioxidants that made the fruit medicinal in the first place.
The medicine is dead.
Furthermore, the juicing process entirely removes the natural, biological fiber of the fruit. Fiber is the protective barrier that slows down your body's absorption of sugar. When you drink a glass of commercial, pasteurized fruit juice, you are consuming nothing but dead, concentrated liquid fructose. Without the fiber to act as a buffer, that massive dose of liquid sugar hits your bloodstream instantly, causing a violent spike in your insulin levels. But more dangerously, that concentrated fructose goes straight to your liver. Your liver cannot process that much liquid sugar at once, so it instantly converts it into visceral fat. This leads directly to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And a fatty, inflamed liver produces higher levels of systemic inflammation and oxidized LDL cholesterol, the exact biological materials that build the rigid plaque inside your arteries. You are drinking a sugar bomb that is calcifying your blood vessels, all while believing you are doing your heart a favor. If you want the vascular medicine, you cannot extract the sugar and throw away the biological matrix. You must consume the whole plant. And that brings us to the first pillar of the endothelial protocol, the biological engine of nitric oxide. To restore your physical performance naturally, you must understand a single critical gas produced inside your blood vessels: nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the master chemical of vasodilation. When your body produces it, it signals the smooth muscle surrounding your arteries to relax, expand, and safely flood the area with oxygen-rich blood. As you age, your body's natural ability to synthesize nitric oxide plummets, causing your vessels to remain tight and starved of blood. To restart this biological engine, we do not use synthetic chemicals. We use a specific, highly potent amino acid called L-citrulline. And the most concentrated, bioavailable source of L-citrulline on the planet is fresh watermelon. But you must consume it correctly. The majority of the L-citrulline is not in the sweet red center of the fruit.
The highest concentration of this medicinal amino acid is found in the dense, pale flesh right near the rind, the part most people throw in the garbage.
When you consume this L-citrulline, it enters your bloodstream and travels directly to your kidneys. Your kidneys synthesize the L-citrulline and convert it into a second amino acid called L-arginine. This newly formed L-arginine is the direct biological precursor to nitric oxide. By flooding your system with organic L-citrulline from the whole fruit, you are providing your body with the exact raw materials it needs to trigger a massive, sustained release of nitric oxide. Your arteries begin to naturally relax, expanding safely without the violent hemodynamic stress of a pharmaceutical drug. However, producing nitric oxide is only half the battle. If your blood is thick with inflammation, that newly created gas will be destroyed before it can even act. To protect the nitric oxide and physically clean the walls of your arteries, you need the most powerful antioxidant known to vascular science. Let's discuss the clinical power of the raw pomegranate. Generating nitric oxide is a necessary first step. But for a man over 60 with years of accumulated vascular damage, it is simply not enough. Nitric oxide is an incredibly fragile molecule. The moment your body produces it, it enters a bloodstream that is likely highly acidic and filled with free radicals. If you have systemic inflammation, those free radicals will attack and destroy the nitric oxide within seconds, rendering it completely useless. To prevent this, you must introduce a biological shield. You need a compound capable of neutralizing oxidative stress while simultaneously attacking the calcified plaque lining your arterial walls. For this, clinical science points directly to the raw pomegranate. I am not talking about the sweetened, pasteurized red liquid sold in grocery stores. I am talking about the physical, raw fruit. Breaking it open and consuming the raw, dark red seeds known as arils. Inside these seeds, and particularly in the fibrous membrane surrounding them, lies a massive concentration of a unique, monstrously powerful antioxidant called punicalagin. When punicalagin enters your bloodstream, it performs two distinct life-saving functions. First, it acts as a ruthless scavenger of free radicals. It cleans the blood, creating a safe, protected environment where the nitric oxide generated by the watermelon can survive, travel, and keep your blood vessels safely dilated. But its second function is even more critical for your long-term survival. The plaque clogging your penile arteries and your heart is not just made of fat. It is made of oxidized LDL cholesterol. Punicalagin actively works to reverse this oxidation process. It is one of the only natural compounds documented in clinical literature that can halt the progression of arterial plaque and begin to slowly dissolve the lipid buildup from the inside out. You are not just masking a symptom. You are systematically dismantling the biological roadblock that is causing your dysfunction. But to complete the endothelial protocol, we must repair the physical structural damage left behind by years of rigid, high-pressure blood flow. We have to restore the youthful elasticity of the vascular tissue itself. Once the plaque begins to recede and the nitric oxide is flowing, your arterial walls are still physically compromised. They are brittle. To restore the flexible, elastic nature of a healthy vascular system, you must consume the final two elements of this protocol: black grapes and whole citrus. Notice I specifically said black grapes, not green. The deep, dark pigment in the skin of black grapes, along with the crunchy inner seeds, contains a highly concentrated dose of resveratrol. Resveratrol is a clinical powerhouse for the aging male. It directly targets the endothelial lining, soothing the microscopic inflammation that makes arteries stiff. Furthermore, clinical data shows that resveratrol actively supports the natural production of testosterone, which works synergistically with nitric oxide to restore libido and physical drive. You must eat the entire grape, chewing the seeds and the skin, because that is where the medicine is locked. Finally, you must incorporate whole citrus fruits, oranges, grapefruits, or lemons. But again, you must eat them exactly how nature intended. When you peel an orange, you will notice a thick, spongy white layer between the skin and the fruit. Most people meticulously peel this off and throw it away. That is a tragic biological mistake. That white pith is loaded with a powerful flavonoid called hesperidin. Hesperidin is the structural engineer of your vascular system. Its primary biological function is to strengthen the walls of your blood vessels and capillaries. It takes an artery that has become brittle and stiff, like a rusted lead pipe, and restores its structural integrity and flexibility. By combining the L-citrulline from the watermelon, the punicalagin from the raw pomegranate, the resveratrol from the black grapes, and the hesperidin from the citrus pith, you have created a complete organic vascular restoration matrix. But consuming these fruits is useless if you just sit in a chair all day. You must activate the chemistry through mechanical force, and you must make sure you are not creating a fatal overlap with your current prescriptions. Let me give you the exact 30-day vascular restoration protocol and the final critical medical warning you cannot afford to ignore. You have the chemical building blocks, the watermelon, the raw pomegranate seeds, the black grapes, and the whole citrus. But consuming these compounds is entirely useless if you do not activate them through mechanical force. You cannot eat a bowl of fruit, sit on your couch for 10 hours, and expect your arteries to clear. The medicine must be pumped through the system. Here is your uncompromising 30-day protocol. First, the biological intake. Every single day, you must consume a portion of these whole, raw fruits. Do not juice them. Eat the white rind of the watermelon. Chew the grape seeds. Eat the white pith of the orange. Second, the mechanical activation. Within 30 minutes of consuming these fruits, you must initiate a mandatory, non-negotiable 20-minute brisk walk. This is not for weight loss. This is vascular engineering. The physical movement forces your heart to pump the newly created nitric oxide and the protective antioxidants deep into the microscopic capillaries of your lower body, aggressively flushing out the rigid, calcified pathways. Third, the hydration mandate. You cannot build a healthy river without water. You must drink enough pure water daily so that your urine is pale yellow. Dehydrated blood is thick, sticky, and drastically increases vascular resistance, completely neutralizing the benefits of this protocol. Gentlemen, it is time to remove the shame from this conversation. A decline in your performance is not a personal failure. It is pure biological plumbing. It is a terrifying warning from your cardiovascular system that demands immediate action, not a synthetic Band-Aid. If you are currently taking prescribed nitrate medications for chest pain, you must absolutely never mix them with synthetic performance pills. The resulting drop in blood pressure can be fatal. And before you make any massive dietary changes, especially if you are on blood pressure medication, you must have a frank conversation with your cardiologist. I challenge you today to stop masking your symptoms and start repairing the root cause. If you are committing to abandoning the dangerous shortcuts and adopting the 30-day vascular restoration protocol, I need you to go into the comments right now and type, "I am restoring my arteries today."
Your vitality is not gone. It is simply trapped behind damaged biology.
It is time to clear the way. Subscribe to this channel if you are ready to reject the comforting lies of the wellness industry and start treating your body with uncompromising clinical truth. Honor the pharmacology, respect your biology, and I will see you in the next clinical masterclass.